Welcome back to Killing It 4x4. That is a little Rodeo, and this is a naughty little blue slip. So we've had this thing on the road for about a month, and we have finally got ourselves one of these disgusting little slips from the New South Wales Police. They aren't happy with the fact that it's got a turbo on it and it's meant to be naturally aspirated. So I've decided I'm not going to pull the turbo off. I've contacted an engineer. It's not going to cost me too much to get it done. So we are just going to get this thing prepared for engineering, because we've got about a week to get this thing done, as the earliest appointment I could get for engineering was the 23rd. This thing cannot be driven after the 24th. So as you guys would have seen, the gearbox shit itself. So we've also got to put a gearbox in it, which is fine. I've got a gearbox sitting at home. It's a reason why I bought a Rodeo, because I've got parts left, right and center. As you can see, there's a big one sitting right there. So let's get the gearbox, let's get the clutch and the slave cylinder done. And then I thought, oh, well, why don't we get everything done while we're there? I've been putting off doing the front brakes and rotors for ages. They've been down for God knows how long. Same with the rear. Need to do wheel cylinders and shoes. Then we've got to get to actual defect clearance stuff. So I'm sure all you guys actually want to know what we got done for. That exhaust tip is on the left-hand side. He was not impressed with the fact that it can suffocate pedestrians when we're sitting at traffic lights. He wasn't happy with the pod filter, so I covered it. The mechanic wasn't happy to sign off the fact that we got defected with the turbo. So we're going the long road and we're getting engineered. So I've actually never had a car engineered before, so I don't know what's completely involved, but I've had a quick chat to the engineer that will be doing this, and pretty much got to pass all basic blue slip stuff. It's got to have a noise test done, a brake test, and then obviously he's got to inspect it as well. So here are the issues that we need to fix and what we're going to do. So intake, that is like there's fuck all room there. It's hitting the intercooler pipe, which I could fix and make that a little bit tidier, but I'm happy with how that pipe's run. So we're going to go from here to up the back corner where there is like heaps of room for fun stuff. So we're going to run our intake pipe up along the back, which will also give us our room back for our AC compressor. Then we've got to flatten this pipe out, run straight into this 90-degree here, which that is simple and easy enough. Then we've also got to paint all of our intercooler piping. Not only that, we've also got to do the brakes, like I said, because they're just shit. It's not going to pass. And the exhaust. When we did the turbo, we ran out of flanges at the back of the cab, so I pretty much had to make from the back of the cab all the way up to the back of the turbo one piece. So because I made that one piece, I'm going to have to put flanges pretty much in between the cab and the dump pipe to make the dump pipe one piece and the midsection of pipe one piece. So I've had a quick tidy up, I've mopped the floor, and I've got all of our wheels off, ready to go so we can start stripping them down. Turns out the brakes aren't as bad as I thought they were. They could probably do without replacing actually, but I've got all the parts. They weren't that expensive, so I'm just going to do them while I'm here. Then I know exactly where this car is at. I know where the clutch is at. I know where all the brakes are at. I know where the filters are at. And now I've also got to get this manifold pulled off. I cleaned up the manifold when we put the turbo on. I knew it was a little bit warped. I thought maybe that the gasket would be able to handle that. It doesn't leak too bad, but not good enough for an engineer. I'm going to pull that off and take it to get machined, which is going to be nice and expensive, but that's all right. So I'm going to hook into that, get that turbo out. I'll probably put you guys on a time lapse for that. Phone battery's running pretty low, but yeah. So I'm just getting started doing the brake pads and rotors. So I'm going to start off by pulling my freewheeling hubs off. Then I'm going to bugger the caliper off, sit her up out of the way. Now to get your circlip off, what you want to do is get a pair of circuit pliers and pull it off. But at my shed, I don't have access to that at the moment. I forgot to bring them back from work. So I'm going to use the old screwdriver method. So all you got to do is get one side high like that by spreading your circlip open just a little bit. It's not really good or ideal for the circlip to be doing it this way, but yeah, we won't talk about it. So then boom, you just lever her straight off, then you get your circlip, and your washer, and for the love of fuck, you don't lose them. Sit them off to the side. So now we'll take all these Allen keys out. We'll be able to slide this inner section of our locking hub off, and that'll give us access to our wheel bearing nuts. So once you've got those bolts out, this will literally just slide off. Righto, so now it is day 2, since I've started recording at least, that we've been working on this absolute piecer. Anyway, I've come back from work and I've got a little bit of shit done. So I've done the upper and lower ball joints. I pulled the hub off, which you guys would have seen just before this clip. Now, I didn't bother to film too much because I've got to pretty much get as much done as I can today and leave pretty early so I can go and pick up a flywheel from Clint for this thing. I'm sure he'll be somewhere in the comments below. Now, the shocks in the front, they are a definite gonna have to be done before engineering, so that's going to be added to the list, but I'm reasonably happy with what I've got done today. I'm going to take the hubs to work so I can clean the bearings out in the parts cleaner and repack them with fresh grease. Rotors weren't insanely bad, but I'm doing the pads, I'm doing the drums on the rear and everything, so I'm just going to get them done while we're here. So I won't put those on until the hubs are done. So this side is ready to be slapped back together. Like I said, just waiting for the hub and everything to be finished. So for today, I think I'll be happy with getting this side apart and ball joints done. Then at least I can have all that stuff ready to go and finished tomorrow. I also went and got some bits. So I got a new 2-inch joiner for the turbo to the hot side of the intercooler. And then I've got 2 flanges to fix the fact that the exhaust is one piece from the turbo all the way back. Something I've also got to fix is that this exhaust is actually a part of the chassis. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that, but that little angle there is straight up welded to the chassis. So we've got to fix that and give this thing a few hangers, which we don't have much clearance there to be able to do that, but I'll probably just notch a little bit out of that tray there. And yeah. Yesterday afternoon, I also got the exhaust manifold off. That's gone to the engine builders in Port, which they also do machining and stuff. So I've got them to machine exhaust manifold. One thing I forgot to mention too, we've also got to find out why our tacho doesn't work, which shouldn't be too hard. It's only 2 wires off the back of the pump. I've just got to find out where they go in the actual cab and find out where our loose wire is, because if you hit the dash, she works. Sometimes when you go over a bump, she stops working. So both sides of the car are done. All I've got to do is clean and repack the grease in both side hubs. Then we've got to put the rotors on, new pads in, put the calipers back on the front end. Then besides the shocks will be completely finished. Then we'll be moving on to getting the rear done. We've got to put wheel studs in. I've already tapped the old ones out. We've got to put new wheel studs in, put new brake shoes on, put our brake drums on. Then that is the rear finished. Then after that, I'm planning on moving onto the intercooler piping and the airbox. So I'm going to sit you guys down on a time lapse and I'll get this side done. So I've just done all this as a time lapse and realised that I did a portrait when it's meant to be landscape like it is, otherwise it won't work for YouTube. So just really quickly, I thought I'd give a bit of a tip. Ball joints. Everyone that does this shit at home seems to have dramas and dramas and dramas. You see it on patrol forums, Land Cruiser forums, Rodeo forums, everywhere. All you need to do to separate a ball joint is have a little bit of pressure going the opposite way of the taper. So in this case, you've got the nut on the bottom, so therefore we want to have a little bit of force pushing that away, which this thing is jacked in the air, yes. However, there is still tension on our lower control arm because our upper control arm is sitting up against the bump stop. So what we are going to do is we are just going to belt the living shit out of that part right there, which on the inside of that is a taper which fits our ball joint, and that is all you need to do. I'll show you guys in a video here. I might even hold the camera in my hand and see how well I go. But all you need to do is belt the shit out of that, and that will crack the taper. Sometimes they are really stuck, and yes, you need to get a ball joint separator and all that sort of shit. But besides trucks, on cars, I've never had any good luck with ball joint separators. They've always just snapped. So I just belt the living piss out of that. If it's not working, get a fucking bigger hammer. So I'll grab the hammer here, and all we need to do is make sure that we're going to hit it in a good spot. Done. That was extremely difficult doing it with one hand, but that's all you need to do, right? Yes, the caliper is hanging there by its fucking scruff of its neck by the brake line, but we won't worry about that. That is going to be fine. The other one, like, it's just as easy. However, you might have a bit more of a trick of a time because it only has the weight of the spindle on it. So there we go. 2 solid hits and she was done. Yeah. Ball joint shouldn't be able to piss in the wind like that. Like, that's nothing. It should be as stiff as that top one, but even that one's... It's not fucked, but the boot is clearly split. Another quick thing for you guys that have got Rodeos as well, I'm pretty sure this also correlates to Colorados and any of your old Hiluxes or Bravos, whatever. Right, they will come factory with a ball joint on top. Now, why they do this is, so if these bolts come loose, pretty much the design of your two ball joints, they're both pulling away from each other. So if these bolts come loose, it's going to be pulling this top control arm down no matter what. So you're not going to lose extreme control of your vehicle if this thing comes undone. Now, what a lot of people do to help with their camber when they lift these things is sit the ball joint underneath, which in theory is is dangerous, but at the end of the day, if these bolts are coming undone, you've got dramas. Like, you just keep an eye on them, etc. They'll be fine. I ran around with that thing with the ball joint split for how long, and it was fine, along with a whole bunch of other blokes that have done it. And some cars actually do come out factory like this. It's not that big of a deal. But anyway, just a quick heads up for anyone with a Rodeo that wants to get a little bit more lift out of their rig. This will not give you lift. However, it will allow you to have more lift with less camber. So that's it. This side is now done. Ball joints are in. Hub is off. Got to take both the hubs to work tomorrow. Clean all the old grease out of them. Put some new grease into them. But I think for this episode, I'm going to put this out in the open and see how we go. If this thing gets enough attention, I'll keep putting the effort in to make some more videos on this as we get it ready for engineering. So this has been a little bit boring. It's not very interesting. Like, we're only doing small maintenance. I was doing talking from the majority of the video. But as we get into doing the modifications to this thing so it will actually pass engineering, should get a little bit more interesting. I might have a crack at tigging, like lift TIG, at making a stainless airbox for this thing. If that goes to shit, I'll just run a fucking mild steel airbox and get that out of the way, because if I paint it, what's it going to hurt? So, yeah, we've got to get the intercooler piping painted. We've got to tidy up the inside of the engine bay. And we've also got to get our exhaust done and our exhaust hanging, then our tacho sorted. So if you enjoy this sort of content, let me know. For those of you that are coming from TikTok, I appreciate it. it means the world to me. If this thing even gets 1,000 views, I'll be happy. Our War Hope video got a fair few amount of views, which is just a video that I slapped together. So if you guys enjoy what you're seeing, like and subscribe, and if you really care to, turn your notifications on. It will really help me out so I can get this thing going and turn some of YouTube videos out for that, which if you guys have just seen me and you recommended and you have no idea who I am, I'm Taylor from Killing It 4x4. That's Ryan's RD28 Patrol. That is my solid axle swapped TF Rodeo, which is going to be a killer build when it's finished. So yeah, stick around guys, give us a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next episode.